Thank you very much. Hello, wonderful audience. Welcome to How to Make Your Live Stream Count by Team 7. Please welcome to the stage, Maeve de Bordons.
Thank you, Charlie. So as we know, live streams are a very big business nowadays. For example, this Jean-Michel Jarre virtual concert had 75 million viewers last year. And next. So why have we decided to research live streaming? Well, it's a huge opportunity for all of us, no matter where you are in the industry, and we're here to help you kind of understand its purpose and optimize your strategy to make the best live stream possible.
So how are we going to look at this? Well, firstly, we're going to look at which platforms are key, and then we're going to move on to look at the ROI of a live stream. The data sources that we've used for this, we've centered our research around Polestar, and one of the reasons why we've done this is because it's not a very well explored area, live streaming. It's a fairly new area, and so that's one of the reasons why we want to explore this. Paired it with Chartmetric data in some of our research as well. So which platforms are key? Well, firstly, no surprise to see that Facebook was the #1 channel that came out with 77% of the records in our data set going through Facebook. But what we found really interesting was that some streams were being captured through multiple channels at the same time. So we wanted to do a little bit of analysis on these by channel. So we found out that if you were on Twitch, 1/3 of these streams are also going to be on Facebook. But if you're on YouTube, then 2/3 of the live streams are going to be on Facebook. But what does this actually mean in terms of views? So we've plotted down here, and this is views transposed logarithmically, just because if we had a big gig like The Weekend up here, then it would eclipse all of the other gigs and push them down to the bottom of the chart. But all this violin plot is telling us is the distribution. So it's effectively like a histogram on its side, and all this is telling us that it is best to be on both to maximize viewers. But what about if we look at Twitch? So we found out that it's best to be on both Facebook and YouTube if we want to maximize viewers, but on Twitch actually it was the other way around, that soulless Twitch users, Twitch was winning out. So is this a function of the platform, or is it a function of the artists using the platform? Well, actually, interestingly, the mean Spotify followers and median Spotify followers were less for the soulless Twitch users. So it's not that they're the really huge artists. But genre might, however, be a significant influencing factor in this. So pop over-indexes, dance over-indexes, and so does electronic music. So there's a slight difference in genres that we see here, but key learnings from that: don't shy away from being on both YouTube and Facebook at the same time, and Twitch functions very well on its own. What about the ROI of a live stream? So one of the debates that we had through this process is, what is the purpose of a live stream? Is it about sales, or is it about promotion? So, of course, from a promotion perspective, we want audience growth, we want attention, the connection between the artist and fan base, where COVID has brought about more and more live streams, has been absolutely key. But people want to monetize that as well. So paid tickets is the obvious thing, but in terms of merchandising and tips, etc., but also increasing incremental streams off the back of our live stream gigs. So these two areas, paid tickets and increasing streams, was something that we wanted to look into. So we wanted to analyze this paid unpaid variance. So if we do a paid gig rather than an unpaid gig, what's the downshift almost in terms of the people that we get to turn up? Unfortunately, we didn't have enough paid records in our data set to be able to properly analyze that. We had a linear regression set up to look at that. When we excluded that paid because we didn't have the paid records, we got an R-squared of 0.4 for the linear regression using Facebook followers, other social followers, to predict the live stream views. But unfortunately, that was something that we couldn't set up, but something that we very much like to explore further later. But thinking about those incremental streaming listens that you get after a live stream, we took this specific example of this huge Dua Lipa gig, 5 million viewers, generated 2.3 incremental Spotify listeners, or did it? Because there was a lot of other activity going on at this time. So correlation doesn't necessarily equal causation. We see a nice big bump here, but there was a lot of other activity. Julie was on TV and lots of different places at the same time. So we could naively look at this and think there's a significant effect. However, when we looked at it doing a bit more rigorous statistical analysis, ran a regression on it and found that live stream views are actually a poor predictor of that uptick of streaming in the week after a live stream. So the variables that we included in this: live stream views, Facebook likes, etc. Has there been a recent release? Because of course that's going to be a big factor in whether there's an uptick in this as well.
Philip. Hi.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Time is up. And we would give the judges 3 minutes to ask questions at this point.
So what is the service? Is it a research consultancy specific to analyzing live streaming for that? That was the thing that I got missing. Is it to me, it felt more like a research project than a
exactly.
sales.
I think you're spot on. We didn't structure this around creating a service. It was informing the users of the piece of research.
Thanks.
Okay.
I have a question about you kind of take a causal approach to this and you say, what's the ROI if we can understand the causal impact of a live stream? How important do you think that is for artists to know, like, X live stream, one live stream equals, 4,000 listeners, incremental listeners? How important is it to get at that incrementality?
I think it's really important to understand the impact of the different things that you can do, because you only have a limited amount of time and a limited amount of resource. So where you pour that time and resource is essential. And also understanding if you're underperforming on things like that. The unpaid one is a really good example of that, because you're saying, well, I can choose to take the hit of paid. I'm going to get less viewers, but I'm going to get money for it. So actually, what's the trade-off? Understanding the different targets I'm likely to get for those is really helpful in that decision making.
Did the team discuss at all talking about experimentation in live streaming, like showing a random 50% of your viewers the option to join a live stream?
Love it. No, we didn't. But give us another weekend and we'll get right to that. No problem.
Love it.
And because it's in its infancy and everyone's talking about it in so many different guises, it's just such an exciting area. There's so many different ways that we could have gone down with this research.
Yeah, I think it's, when you're looking at return on investment, the first thing that we have to ask is how much to invest to then seek a potential return. And I find if you had another weekend, that'd be very interesting. What is the median, or what is the potential cost of a live stream that would then produce some sort of ROI, and what would that ROI be? That's what interests me the most. And
absolutely
in the dark, right?
Yeah, and that was the ideal that we had in our head, and squeezed with a weekend, and that was going to be quite hard.
Yeah, I totally caught the vibe of a consultancy, so that kind of definitely was an impressive review of the data. It sounds like you need more data, and the data's, it's definitely coming, and folks are making money. Watched a local band called the Mother Hips do live stream off of Stage It, and they easily made $50,000 in one night. It was awesome. Good job.